Well, hello peeps. Here we have my PvP overview on the War Within beta for the Fury Warrior. Now, before we get into the things, before we get into the Warrior side of things, hero talents and Fury, I do want to give you some thoughts on how I think Blizzard has actually solved one of the biggest issues of Fury, while on the other hand, one of the other issues has kind of remained. So, Fury finally has Bladestorm, which is huge, or should I say has it back, because it's not like Fury never had Bladestorm, right? But finally has Bladestorm back, and I think that is huge for just solving the issue of having Fury just get CC'd every time it has any cooldowns or it's doing any kind of damage. I think that has been like one of the biggest issues going through Dragonflight, and like the separating thing between Arms and Fury. Like Arms just gets to freaking connect its damage with the Avatar Bladestorm plus the normal Bladestorm. Bladestorm was also buffed during Dragonflight to actually be like a damaging cooldown. So I think this is a huge W. On the other hand, the solving of the issue of the healing reduction has not happened. My take is just make it a normal healing reduction, or freaking just tune Fury around not being a healing reduction class, right? Just my take on it. I feel like they're just... it's been such a long time that this talent has been bugged, right? Slaughterhouse, right? It's just a long time that it's not working in a good, right way, so... At this point, I just feel like we should just kind of forgo it, make a new, normal kind of Mortal Strike effect, build it in maybe into the class itself, or tune the class itself to not have a Mortal Strike effect, so you kind of have to match Fury with the class that has a Mortal Strike effect, right? Just generally, I feel like, I just forgo the idea, especially when they can't make it work properly. So, we're gonna first start off with the Warrior side of things, moving into the hero talents, and then moving into the Fury side of things. We're gonna keep a brisk pace, just because I feel like it's better to just keep these things short. Intervene, one of the most notable changes in the Warrior side of things. Generally, this talent side has just gotten a lot better, in my opinion. A lot more things are, a lot more things are in better places and more accessible. But I also think that you are more tied for points than you were before. So, Intervene, it's now targeted by spells as well, right? Absolutely amazing. You're gonna be able to juke, get to the CC from your healer, get CC from your teammate, right? You're gonna be able to do a lot of different stuff that you just weren't able to do before. Absolutely, I think amazing. A lot of talents are just kind of moved up here on, changed places. Another notable change: Second Wind now actually has a in-combat component, not just being an out-of-combat thing. Absolutely amazing. It does have some interactions with some hero talents, but I think just absolutely amazing. I don't think this is like huge heal, right? Like 1% every 1 second. I think scales up to like 2-something%. I checked online, or it doesn't really matter, right? It's gonna be a minor thing in arena, and just kind of a bonus in BGs, right? We'll see how much it how effective it really is, especially when you count in healing reduction. Crushing Force has been changed. It now doesn't work with Slam anymore. Absolutely, like, great in the fact that Slam has been pruned out, like, completely. But we still don't have, like, a replacement for Slam. That's more of a problem for Arms than it's for Fury. Yeah, just an actual good talent now. Before it was just kind of meh. Shockwave here. Instead of, like, having to go down to finally get it right, you actually have a choice. A lot easier time to actually pick it up from, like, the middle side. And yeah, I guess I'm not really a fan of Piercing Howl. I feel like it's kind of blocked off here by Reinforced Plates, which is a talent we don't really want in PvP, since armor is nerfed in PvP, which also makes armor to the teeth, right? A weaker talent. So hopefully this gets like tuned around PvP as well, right? But I just don't like this position. I felt like it was a little bit easier to pick it up before. Shattering Throw is in a better position overall, I would say, because sure, you have to kind of lose something to get it. At least you don't have to, like, move 3 or 4 things, 4 talents around to just get it, right? It's immediately accessible, a lot more, or should I say, a lot more easier to actually access. But yeah, those would be the kind of main Warrior side of things changes. Just a better overall talent experience, I think, right now. Moving on into the hero talent side of things. Now, I'm gonna go over Slayer first, because it's my favorite. I've talked about it in the Arms side of things as well, right? Just my, like, clear favorite. It is Blade Master, basically, so thematically, I like it even more. Additionally, I'm also kind of an OG warrior player, right? So Bladestorm to me is like an amazing warrior ability that I just feel like is very thematic to the warrior. So huge fan of Slayer, and I also think it's gonna be a little bit better to show you why Mountain Thane is not really preferred, right, in PvP, or has issues in PvP. So let's start off right away. Slayer's dominance. Your auto attacks have a high chance to overwhelm your target. Defenses triggering Slayer Strike, dealing X amount of damage, and applying marked for execution, increasing the damage of your next execute by 10%, stacking up to 3 times. Your kind of first thing, but Slayer kind of has, you know, how would you say, to get the full picture of Slayer, you need to go into the other talents as well, right? So just your kind of first thing, right? You get the marks on top of the target, you proc some damage, very nice. Imminent Demise. Sudden death's chance to reset the cooldown of execute and make it usable on any target regardless of health is increased. Now, I think this is bugged for arms. For Fury, it seems to be working fine, like I'm getting a lot more sudden death procs when I'm running Slayer over Mountain Thane, but on arms, it seems like it's bugged. But there is one component to the talent that I just don't like, and that is that using sudden death accelerates your next Bladestorm striking 1 additional time, a maximum of 3. So you would like look at this and be like, wow, Bladestorm can do up to basically 300% more damage, amazing. But for me, the thing is, this is gonna make our Bladestorms need to be kind of stacked, otherwise the Bladestorm is gonna feel anemic. I also feel like if you actually want to run Bladestorm then as Mountain Thane or as Colossus for arms, you're kind of in a scuffed position. So that is the reason why I don't like this talent. I feel like you should be at least like, it should be like lower, like 75% damage modifier per stack, not like 100% damage modifier per stack. I just feel like the actual Bladestorms are gonna feel worse if you don't have, like, if you don't get all 3 procs, right? So that's kind of just my worry and why I don't like the talent. Otherwise, I think, of course, it's just a cool idea, right? As you get your procs, your Bladestorm is gonna be mega strong, right? So I like the idea overall. So it's not like I hate what it does. It's just I'm worried that then Bladestorm, normal Bladestorm, is gonna be much weaker. Each strike of Bladestorm applies overwhelmed, increasing your damage by 1%, stacks up to 10%. You're basically, with some other talents down there, basically gonna have 100% uptime to this, so basically expect 100% uptime to 10% damage, yeah, for Slayer. It's, yeah, just your damage modifier. Relentless Pursuit. So originally, these were the talents that I was like, Slayer so good, I want to play Slayer so badly. Because this talent used to just remove roots and, you know, movement pairing effects when you would charge. Now that part has a cooldown, and we have an additional part where when you charge, you get 70% movement speed for 3 seconds. I really like it still. I'm just worried that the cooldown part is a little bit too much. Like the actual clearing effects, clearing the movement speed clearing effects is just not good, I think. I think 20 seconds. Of course, these are all subject to tuning. So, of course, we can't really hold it up to Blizzard right now, but yeah, I think this should be like more like 20 seconds and 30 seconds is gonna remove like some random slow when you're just charging in the first time, and then yeah, it's not, you're basically never gonna get a good effect from this in PvP, I feel like, unless it's a little bit more changed. On the other hand, the 70% movement speed kind of sounds like, you know, whatever, but so many times that you charge a target in PvP and the target has freedom, and now you just, you know, can't catch up to the target because the target also has some increased movement speed, right? So I just feel like this is actually good to just make sure the charges kind of stick 100% of the time. So overall, great talent. Vicious Agility now is also a great talent, just really undertuned, I think, right now. Heroic Leap reduces the cooldown of charge by 5 seconds, and charge reduces the cooldown of Heroic Leap by 2 seconds. Can be a good talent, just undertuned right now, in my opinion. If they ever want this to be better than Relentless Pursuit, I feel like this needs to be tuned a lot more aggressively. Let's say it like that. Fierce Follow-Through, Bloodthirst critical strikes increase the damage of your next Bloodthirst by 50%. So you crit the Bloodthirst, your next Bloodthirst is gonna crit for more, right? He's gonna hit for more. Very simple. When Raging Blows reset its own cooldown, your next Raging Blow deals 10% additional damage and 10% additional critical damage. So do you want your Bloodthirst to hit more, or do you want your Raging Blow to hit more? It is your choice. So peeps, before I let you get on with the rest of the video, I do have to inform you that only 4.3% of you are subscribed. So if you've been enjoying the content, please consider smashing that subscribe button. Moving on into Brutal Finish. Your next Rampage after Bladestorm ends deals 50% additional damage. Really nice. I think I'm definitely like it more than the other part, which is Culling Cyclone. Each strike of Bladestorm deals an additional 20% damage, evenly split across all targets. I just feel like this is a lot more consistent, especially for the amount of Bladestorms that you will have, right? This just is like 20% damage if it's a single target, 10% damage increase if it's 2 targets, right? It's just an overall damage increase, but in PvP, right, most of the time we're not in a 1v1 or a 1v2 situation, or how do you say, or 2v2 situation, I guess. So most of the time we are in a kind of a 3+ situation, or for those situations, yeah, we are gonna take Brutal Finish, and when we are playing like 2s, you're gonna take Culling Cyclone. That drive, your heal for 15% of damage dealt by sudden death executes. I think very nice, especially when you count in how much damage it can do with like increased damage, but I think 15% a little bit undertuned, but I think overall I like this. I like kind of just a passive heal that happens when you do some damage. Yeah, I think it's just undertuned right now. 15% kind of, yeah, it just seems low for how hard these actually hit. If these were like, yeah, I don't know, 3 million, I'd be like, okay, 15% is too much maybe. But yeah, they don't hit for 3 million. Marked for execution increases the critical strike chance and critical strike damage of your next execute on the target by 10%. So it just kind of increases that first part, the first talent makes it more powerful. Bloodthirst, now this is actually a pretty good talent, deals pretty nice damage. Bloodthirst have a 20% chance to cause you to unleash a flurry of steel, striking all nearby opponents for X amount of damage and applying Overwhelmed. This is why I also say you're not gonna have problems keeping Overwhelmed on the target, so you're gonna be Blade Storming, you're gonna be having Rip the Storm proc, Overwhelmed, and you're gonna have also like a final effect proc it as well. So yeah, Overwhelmed is gonna be on your target 100% of the time unless you're just dropping huge amounts of uptime, yeah. Raging Blow, damage increased by 20%, just your basic ass damage modifier, really nice. When you execute a target that you've marked for execution, you both reduce the cooldown of Bladestorm by 5 seconds and apply 2 stacks of Overwhelmed to the target per stack of marked for execution. So, Overwhelmed stacks are never gonna fall from your target, you're constantly proccing something that's putting it on your target, but, guys, 15 seconds of your Bladestorms, if you can proc all 3, right, if you just get the marked, if you get a sudden death when the person has 3 marks of executions. Combine that with, what's it called, Anger Management talent, you're gonna have some ridiculous windows for Bladestorm. Especially also Storm of Destruction, I forget, so 30% cooldown off by Storm of Destruction, then you get a lot of cooldown reduction with this, and you get a cooldown reduction from Unrelenting, Anger Management. You're just constantly gonna be Bladestorming. Right now, the Bladestorm cooldown, when I do kind of some gameplay tests, you will see, is a little bit bugged, so you don't actually get to kind of fully test this out right now, currently. But conceptually, I feel like this is just insane, and the reason why I love Slayer. You're gonna basically be CC immune every 30 seconds. You also additionally can now use Pummel and Stormbolt while Bladestorming. Absolutely insane, bro. Like, you don't have to first cancel your Bladestorms, right? This is also for arms as well, right? You can't you need to cancel the Bladestorm to actually kick or stun, right? You can just Bladestorm and freaking send it. You can also cover up your kind of, how would you say, CC attempts or damage attempts with it. So I don't know, like, to me, Slayer all the way, man. Like, with this talent additionally, like the cooldown that's gonna be on Bladestorm, you're gonna be constantly Beyblading around. I don't know. For me, Slayer all the way, and this is why I'm definitely in love with Slayer. I just find it hard to pass over the being able to CC while Bladestorming constantly to avoid CC, right? I don't know. For me, it's hard to pass up on, and you're just being more mobile with this spec compared to others. Yeah, I don't know. For me, Slayer unpassable in PvP. Just best in slot, both arms and Fury. Moving on into Mountain Thane. Now we're gonna keep it short. With Mountain Thane, I like it. Just that there is no selling point, and since it's kind of a constant AoE, not really a burst AoE spec, I guess you could call it, right? It also kind of doesn't fit, I feel like, PvP niche as much. So ultimately, it's just kind of a very good fantasy. It feels very good to actually play with, like in the way it actually changes up your rotation, right? So Mountain Thane is actually really good as a hero spec, just not for PvP, I feel like. So let's kind of get into it. Damaging enemies with Thunderclap, Raging Blow, or Execute has a 25% chance to also strike the target with lightning bolt, dealing X amount of damage, right? Lightning strikes occur 30% more often during avatars, so kind of a hero spec that's supposed to work with avatar, right? Strength of the mountain, shield slam damage increased, bot thirst and rampage damage increased. Just your basic ass damage modifier. Lightning strike also deals X amount of damage to enemies near the target. Just make sure lightning strikes right cleave. Storm strike or nature damage, your abilities deal is increased by 5%, and storm strike damage ignores armor. Thunderclap damage increased by 50% and it generates fire rage, while also making all your fury and like warrior talents that are working with whirlwind and kind of AoE talents, right, work with thunderclap as well. So otherwise basically turns thunderclap into your main AoE ability instead of using whirlwind to get your stacks and stuff. So yeah, kind of just for PvE purposes, right? We don't really care for that in PvP. Shield Slam and Bloodthirst have a 35% chance to grant you Thunderblast. So this is how you generally get your Thunderblast, is just by doing Bloodthirst, right? Your next Thunderclap becomes a Thunderblast that deals Storm Strike damage and generates 5 extra rage. Now, this is the talent that I just hate the most. I just think both of these are just bad, in my opinion. Sure, this one is just good in the sense that it's something extra, so at least you're gonna take this one. But Stormbolt also hits 2 additional targets, stunning them for a lower amount of duration, but its cooldown is increased. Yeah, you're never using this in PvP. Intervening a target grants them a shield for 5 seconds that also absorbs magic damage equal to 3 times your armor. Why is it absorbing the magic damage based on my armor? I don't know. It is weird. It is meh. It is like, I don't know, just meh to me, this kind of talents. This one is not bad. Steadfast as the peaks. Impending victory. Sorry, stamina increased by 5%. Impending victory increases your maximum health by 10% for 5 seconds, and when this health increase expires, you heal for any amount of the original impending victory that healed you in excess of full health. So basically, you can just use impending victory if you're full HP to get some kind of extra defenses, I guess. It's just kind of don't care when you use impending victory. The other one is not bad either, just armor part is in PvP kind of scuffed. Thunder Blast reduces damage take by 8%. I think that is pretty nice. 8% damage like reduction as like a passive thing that you're gonna be constantly getting is actually really good. Really good. Just the other part, the armor 8%, is just like whatever. Lightning Strikes now have a 15% chance to make your next 2 Bloodthirsts have no cooldown and deal 25% increased damage and generate 2 additional rage. So kind of like what used to be old Reckless Abandon, and this can stack with Reckless Abandon, so you will get some crazy Bloodthirst spam windows going on with Mountain Thane. This is why I also say that Mountain Thane definitely impacts rotation a lot more than Slayer and even Colossus. So I feel like, generally speaking, very good talent of how it's kind of designed. Doesn't really matter to us in PvP, right? Gathering Clouds, your attacks trigger Lightning Strikes 30% more often. Lightning Strike generate 5 rage, and Raging Blow and execute damage is increased by 15%. Honestly, just depends. Are you gonna get your procs more with having your attacks trigger Lightning Strikes more, right? Because there is, the proc from this and another proc right down there, so might be better in that sense. Otherwise, this is just a baseline increase to damage, so kind of, I guess, yeah, kind of hard to skip unless this is really like gonna be proccing your stuff more. Thunder Blast calls down a lightning strike on the enemy it hits, or activating Recklessness grants a charge of Thunder Blast. Since this kind of goes counter to the talent below, I have personally been going for Flashing Skies. Thunder Blast calls down lightning strikes on all enemy it hits, just to kind of increase the proc chance of my other stuff, right? And casting Avatar grants you 2 charges of Thunder Blast. This is why I also think, right, this talent is like whatever, because you're gonna be using Recklessness and Avatar pretty much in the same time usually. Casting Avatar grants you 2 charges of Thunder Blast and resets the cooldown of Thunderclap. While Avatar is not active, Lightning Strikes have a 10% chance to grant you Avatar for 4 seconds. So that's why I say getting a little bit more procs might be more beneficial. And of course, Thunder Blast, we already know. So unfortunately, like, while it might be fun, as you see some gameplay tests and whatnot, it like looks decent, plays decent, it just doesn't have a selling point, right? It doesn't have like, I'm gonna, go for very small cooldown windows on my Blade Storms, right? And be CC immune and be faster. This one just doesn't have that, right? And Thunder Blast, like Thunderclapping, does not feel good. You also have to, you know, kind of separate, you know, go into the talents to get Thunderclap and get like increased damage to Thunderclap. So those are just the parts that don't feel good. Definitely on the Fury side of things, compared to Arms, you have kind of one PvP talents and one PvE talents. Definitely how it feels to me. Moving into the Fury side of things, I didn't mention before, but these talents are something I've set up to kind of do some testing. They're not any kind of final form right now, but in the Fury side of things, there is just a few kind of notable changes. We have Unhinged and we have Bladestorm here, right? So Unhinged makes your Bladestorm deal damage and automatically class the Bloodthirst at your enemy instead of Mortal Strikes like it does for Arms. On the other side of things, Annihilator has been pruned out. Very nice, very nice. I personally was not happy to just play one button, and the way it kind of works later in the Dragonflight seasons is just not good. Not the way I like it. You do have a new talent here, Powerful Enrage, that I've been testing out. Who holds the node with Frenzied Enrage? It really just depends, I think, which one seems better ultimately. Like, yeah, it's not gonna be really... Oh, do I want the movement speed and the haste? It's gonna be which one seems better for you, man. That's that one. And I think Powerful Enrage is probably in PvP gonna be a little bit better with just being a flat 15% damage modifier. And yeah, I think Blood Craze, yeah, it was as well changed into, I think, a very good change. Raging Bow increases the critical strike chance of your next Bloodthirst by 15% until it critically strikes. So instead of spamming your Bloodthirst and then every third crits or every fourth crits, now you can basically have every single Bloodthirst crit or every other Bloodthirst crit. Very nice, very nice. And Single-Minded Fury has been kind of changed, that it's now one talent until they make this into not a talent and into a passive freaking thing. It will always be bad. It just cannot be good when the other option, right, is not a talent and you can just play it, right? So this should just be made as part of Fury. Maybe they don't want it for some reason. I don't, you know, I'm not like a professional in that regard, right? Maybe they have some reasons. It's gonna be like weapons are gonna be like constricted or not, or like, I don't care. Like that's not a big deal for me. I just know that till this is like made to be passive, it's gonna be worse than Titan's Grip every time. Now for some kind of gameplay showcase. Keep in mind I am on PTR and I'm lagging 1.8 millisecond ping, right? So my rotations are nothing to kind of watched at here, right? I just want to kind of demonstrate the strengths of the builds. Slayer, you're gonna see right away just the cooldown on my Bladestorm falling down. I think this is the part that is bugged. Is rampages are reducing 6 seconds instead of 4 seconds, which then makes when my actual tooltip shows that my cooldown is done, my cooldown is not actually done, right? But yeah, that's just one bug to kind of keep in mind here as we kind of show this. But you can see just the cooldowns constantly falling down. As well for my Recklessness. Recklessness also kind of becomes a cooldown that you can just constantly use because of anger management, right? Being actually a good talent to be picked up. I guess my Bladestorm's still not back. Now this is what I was talking about, like not getting any sudden death procs being kind of a problem for the kind of, what was it called, imminent demise, right, for the stacks, because now my Bladestorm has only one stack instead of 3 stacks, and my Bladestorm is not increased by 300%, it's increased by only 100%, right? So kind of a thing that I guess annoys me, and why I think that talent should be like changed up. But yeah, otherwise really good, really nice. The cooldown reduction on Bladestorm feels amazing, and then you just have like 30-second Bladestorms. Yeah, constantly have the windows on your cooldowns. Yeah, I think Fury is definitely going to be feeling a lot better in War Within, especially with the Slayer hero talents. And now to show you off the Mountain Thane side of things, just kind of how it looks, right? Unfortunately, right, even if it does like some nasty damage, it just kind of gets into this position where, I don't know, it doesn't have its kind of, how would I say, selling point. Why would I want to play this over really wanting to play a Slayer, right? Like, for me, Slayer offers me CC immunity, mobility. This does offer me a little bit more defense, right? So it does offer me some defensive capability, but Thunder Blast, like the main thing, like doesn't do really much. At least in my opinion, right? You just don't get to like do something insane with it. Yeah, like the damage is just not... I guess maybe if it's tuned high enough, the damage is gonna be like the selling point of it, but like, yeah, otherwise, I don't know. Like, you're thunderclapping, like, okay, I always slowed people. Like, that's the thing that you do? Like, that's why you want to play Mountain Thane, so you can do, like, an AoE slow? Okay. Maybe for BGs, it's gonna be mega fun, just, like, blasting, doing a lot of damage, but otherwise, I'm definitely a Slayer man all the way, man. And peeps, that was my overview, the PvP overview of the Fury Warrior on WoW beta. I think one issue of Fury has been definitely solved with the additional Blade Storm, while the other, like, main issue has not been solved. Everything else will depend on tuning. Slayer definitely looking like the best in slot for Fury. Like, hands down, I feel like on Arms you can kind of have a debate, but on Fury, just Mountain Thane to me does not have a selling point. Maybe I'm wrong, you can correct me down in the comments. So, like, comment, subscribe, all those things YouTubers want you to do, and have a nice day.